It was a dark and stormy night, the kind that made you feel like the world was closing in around you. The wind howled like a pack of wolves, and the rain pelted against the windows like a barrage of bullets. Amelia had always been afraid of storms, but she had never felt so uneasy as she did that night. She tried to distract herself by reading a book, but the sound of the storm was too loud, drowning out her thoughts. Suddenly, she heard a noise that made her blood run cold. It was a scratching sound coming from the window. She tried to ignore it, telling herself it was just a tree branch. But the scratching persisted, growing louder and more insistent. Amelia stood up, feeling a sense of dread wash over her. She walked over to the window and peered out into the darkness. What she saw made her scream. There was a figure standing outside, its face pressed up against the glass. Its eyes were dark pits, and its mouth was twisted into a cruel grin. Its fingers were long and bony, and they continued to scratch at the window, as if trying to get in. Amelia stumbled backwards, tripping over her chair and falling to the ground. She scrambled to her feet, running towards the door. But as she reached for the handle, she realized with horror that it wouldn't budge. She was trapped with the figure outside the window and the storm raging on. She turned around to face the window again and saw that the figure had vanished. But she knew that it was only a matter of time before it returned. As the storm continued to rage on, Amelia huddled in the corner of the room, praying that she would make it through the night alive. As the minutes ticked by, Amelia could feel her heart pounding in her chest. She knew that she had to find a way out, but the door wouldn't budge, and the windows were too high to climb through. Just then, she heard a creaking sound, and she realized that the figure was inside the house with her. She tried to scream, but her throat was dry and constricted. The figure appeared out of the darkness, its long fingers reaching towards her. Amelia scrambled backwards, trying to get away, but she was trapped in the corner. The figure let out a low, guttural laugh, and its eyes seemed to glow with a sickening intensity. Amelia could feel its cold breath on her face, and she knew that she was running out of time. Just as she thought it was all over, she heard a loud banging at the door. The figure turned to face it, and for a moment Amelia saw a flicker of fear in its eyes. The banging continued, growing louder and more insistent. And then, all of a sudden, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the sound of its laughter echoing in Amelia's ears. She stumbled towards the door, her hands shaking with fear. As she opened it, she saw a group of people standing outside, soaked to the bone from the rain. They told her that they had heard her screams, and that they had come to help. Amelia collapsed into their arms, feeling the weight of the night's terror finally lifting from her shoulders. But as she looked back at the house, she could still see the figure's twisted grin haunting her from beyond the grave. In the days that followed, Amelia tried to forget about the terrifying experience she had endured. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't shake the feeling that the figure was still out there, waiting for her. She decided to seek out a psychic, hoping that they could shed some light on what had happened that night. The psychic told her that the figure was a vengeful spirit, trapped between the worlds of the living and the dead. Amelia learned that the house had been built on an ancient burial ground, and that the spirits of the dead had never been laid to rest. The figure she had seen was just one of many, all seeking revenge for the desecration of their sacred land. Determined to put an end to the haunting, Amelia hired a team of paranormal investigators. They spent several nights in the house, capturing footage of strange phenomena and EVPs. In the end, they were able to cleanse the house of the malevolent spirits, and Amelia was finally able to find peace. But she would never forget the terror of that stormy night, or the twisted grin of the vengeful spirit that had haunted her dreams for years to come. Hey, this is my first video. I hope you liked it. I will start uploading more stories based to your comments.